Bitcoin continues its historic rally, captivating investors and creating regrets for many who wish they'd jumped in. But is the surge a trillion-dollar bubble? It's our Barron's cover story this week. So, Ben, all this euphoria certainly does feel a little bubblicious, but Bitcoin and crypto generally has a real tailwind now that mainstream financial institutions are giving their stamp of approval.
That's right. I mean, we were hearing about companies like Square and Tesla buying Bitcoin, and with Square being offering the ability to trade it. But what we're seeing now is, very mainstream, even some would say stodgy companies that are trying to prepare for a future where Bitcoin is perhaps even bigger than it is now. We're seeing Visa and MasterCard trying to figure out how to add Bitcoin to their payment networks. But you're also seeing Bank of New York, one of our oldest banks, is going to be offering a custody service the way it does for stocks and bonds. And I mean, part of this is just good business sense on their part. They can charge more for it just because it's a much more volatile asset. But it also shows that corporate America is kind of preparing for a day when Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies are maybe a part of mainstream life.
Yeah, on the one hand, sort of scoffing at new technologies has not been a good business practice over recent decades. On the other hand, they're not going all in. I mean, MassMutual, I think, has 0.04% of assets in Bitcoin. If it goes to zero, it's not going to hurt too much. Interesting IPO that is going all in, Coinbase, coming up on April 14th. And the way it looks right now, not only do they have more revenue, or at least they're on track to have more revenue than the NASDAQ in this calendar year, but the value of that company could be approaching that of Goldman Sachs.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. I mean, this is not like an IPO that's coming out and doesn't make money. They are actually profitable. They could have a profit of $730 million or more during the first quarter, and a lot of revenue as well. I think first quarter revenue is supposed to be around $1.8 billion. But that valuation is just amazing. It assumes that Coinbase becomes even a bigger, not just a Bitcoin cryptocurrency exchange, but a much bigger part of the financial ecosystem here in the United States. $100 billion, it seems a bit pricey.
So, Jack Howe, with BNY now giving its stamp of approval, this means Bitcoin's worth a lot more, right?
Well, look, maybe I feel like I need to wear a bag over my head before saying anything skeptical about Bitcoin these days. But let me just say, Bitcoin bulls, congratulations that your thing went from half a penny to $58,000 in a little over 10 years. I mean, it's great. It doesn't mean you were right about your Bitcoin thesis. It doesn't mean it's the future of money. I mean, money shouldn't move around like that, or you risk, accidentally paying $75,000 for a latte. It doesn't mean it's a hedge against inflation. It's done almost the opposite of what inflation has done. It's going up because fear of missing out. It's not a doomsday investment, by the way. You want something to hold for doomsday, I recommend something that doesn't need an internet connection. It's going up because a lot of people are buying it, and people are buying it because they don't want to miss out. And the institutions are getting in because they don't want to miss out, as Ben says, on this new business opportunity that could push the price higher. If you're wondering whether you should buy it, I'm not going to recommend it. I'd say think of it like the office lottery pool. When they come around with that lottery pool, you say, I don't play the lotto, but you know what? I'm in, because I don't think I can live with myself if all my coworkers got rich overnight and I didn't. If you feel that way about Bitcoin, put some lotto type money in there. Try not to use the word allocation when you're talking about Bitcoin, not that kind of money.
Not to mention that if every single one of your coworkers wins the lottery on Friday, you're going to have a lot of work to do on Monday because they're not going to be there. Carlton, for investors who want to buy this lottery ticket, what should they be thinking about?
Well, Jack's going to hate me because I am going to talk about allocation here, but generally you do want to start small. He was right. You don't put all your money in the lottery. So for Bitcoin, the allocation of the portfolio, less than 3%, that's enough for it to be a meaningful investment, but also enough to protect yourself if it goes the other way. It's a type of investment that you'd also want to either dollar cost average into and also rebalance around more often. Typically, we rebalance our portfolios once or twice a year. Bitcoin, when it starts to get out of whack, you either want to trim it back down or maybe use it as an opportunity to buy back in.
And so what are some vehicles? I know it's not like buying a stock on the stock exchange.
Yeah, so some ways you can do it, sure, you can buy it on Square, but you can also buy some of these index funds or the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. The thing to know, and Ben mentioned this earlier, is there are higher fees for this. So you do have to take that into account. You're looking at fees of about 2%, where, a general index fund, you're looking at a fee of next to nothing.
Yeah, I think PayPal is the way to do it. If you want to go in, just buy it straight in PayPal and keep it in that account. You can learn more about investing in cryptocurrencies at a Market Watch virtual event this Wednesday. Ben and Carlton will be among our journalists taking part.